everyone. You're welcome to the Women Lighthouse podcast. This is a community for purpose-driven women who desire to live their dreams and aspirations. Our mission is to inspire you to live your dreams one day at a time while serving as a beacon of hope and guidance. We will be addressing various issues related to womanhood. Join me as we explore our journey of life together. I am your host, Unyime Hamilton. Hello ladies, you're welcome to today's episode of the Women Lighthouse podcast. Today we're going to be beginning a two-part series on navigating friendships. We'll start today by talking about how do we build and maintain long-lasting friendships. As we know, friendship is an essential part of our lives as women, and it can significantly impact our well-being and our happiness. However, when we talk about building and maintaining long-lasting friendships, we need to understand that it comes with its own challenges and it requires a lot of effort and dedication to make the relationship work. So today, I have a guest, and the guest is my very good friend of 15 years. Today, we will both be sharing practical tips that have helped us and can also help you in building a stronger and a more fulfilling relationship with the people in your life. So whether you're looking to expand your social circle or deepen your existing friendship, there's a lot you can learn. Stay tuned. You're welcome to today's episode of the Women Lighthouse podcast. It's great to have you again on the show.
Yes, thank you. It's a privilege.
Yeah. So to my viewers, Iboro is my very good friend. In fact, she's more than a friend. She's a sister. We've actually been friends for the past 15 years. We met while in the university. And basically, right from the first day we met, we connected. And from there, the bond of friendship grew. Maybe can you tell our viewers, actually, how did we meet? Can you remember how we met?
Oh, yes. I can remember that very well.
Okay.
We met in Unical Chapel of Redemption Youth Fellowship. When was even the year safe? Was that 2008?
Yes, 2008.
2008. My friend Wime just came in. You know the whole year one thingy. I'm a year one medical student. And before you knew it, she found herself in Unical Chapel of Redemption. So our first meeting was not even in the fellowship generally. I was in charge of the choreography unit then. That's the dance unit. So, yes. And then we now had to prepare them for their freshers welcome service in the fellowship because that has always been the tradition. As new people come in, we welcome them and hold a separate fellowship just to welcome them and make them feel special. So I was to prepare those that signified interest to dance. So my dear friend signified interest and I started coaching them, her and some other people, you know. But at the end of the whole coaching, we even just stood out. Somehow, we just bonded. I discovered I was a unique student then, but I wasn't staying in the hostel. I used to stay outside with my parents. So sometimes after the choreography rehearsals, I'll just follow her. Okay, let me go and even know your hostel. Let me know where you stay. From casual concerned visit like that. That was how we started bonding unknowingly. I didn't even think we were going to bond. I still remain this bonded for so long. And coupled with the fact that she was not my Aquabum sister again. We met film. Yeah. That was what even fired up the bonding the more. An Aquabum sister, welcome and everything. Then also knowing that she had to come all the way from Abuja to come to school in Calabar, you know. And it was also a way of also making her feel comfortable. When you get to a place for the first time, who you meet those first few weeks will determine a lot
Yeah.
because it's very possible to go and jam the wrong set of people. And once you click with the wrong set of people for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, it can be very, very difficult. So that was actually where we met. From choreography coaching. The story is now a different thing. It's now sisterhood for life, not even
Yes,
friendship.
so and now our children, we're now in the second generation because our
Of
children
course.
are beginning to take over from us. So
Yes.
wow, wow. It's such a lovely memory, actually. Wow. So,
Yes.
what do you think? Basically, we're sharing what has been able to help us sustain our relationship. So from what you said, it wasn't planned. It wasn't like we intended from the outset that we're going to be friends for a very long
Yes.
time. But it has turned out that 15 years and still counting, we're still friends and we're sisters now. So what will you say is your first um, tip to sustaining our friendship this far?
Okay. Number one tip, the God factor.
Okay.
Uyime came into the fellowship already a born again believer. So, and I, on my own part, I was already a born again believer. So, we didn't even have any issues in connecting because at least there was a common ground, the God factor. Not that one person was here, another person was here in terms of relationship with God. Mhm. So that was the number one connecting factor. So I will call that my number one tip, the God factor. You don't just
Okay.
enter into friend. Yes, you don't just enter into friendship with someone that is not of the same Christian background with you. That friendship might not really last. At least settle
Mm.
in your heart that that person too is a fellow born again and you're a fellow born again. I'm not talking about the same church, the same unit in fellowship. People might even be in different states, different churches, but let it be that both of you are born again Christians, truly and genuinely serving God. So that's my number one tip.
Wow, that's the way we planned this conversation, we didn't exchange notes, but surprisingly, that's actually one of my tips. The fact that we
You
have
see?
common values and belief systems,
Yes.
because there's no how we would have been able to sustain our relationship if we didn't have common values and belief systems. And it has really, really helped us because in fact, what connected me with Iboro from day one was the way she thinks. Like her reasoning is just on a different level. And it was easy for me to bond with her because our reasoning were on the same level and on the same frequency. And I saw her like a big sister because she's actually older than me. But seeing
Yep.
someone that is where you want to be and someone that reasons like you, someone that thinks like you, someone that believes in the same values, and it was just so easy to connect with her and it was so easy to just relate with you going forward. So yes, that's also my tip, having common values and belief system. So what's your second tip?
Values. Same values.
Yeah.
After you have settled the God factor, because a lot of people can have God, they are heavily born again, but when it comes to basic values of life, like okay, when you go to a place, behave this way. When you go here, act this way. They are very wrong. They will drop their Christianity in church. And outside church, you see them doing anyhow. So another thing that bonded me to Unyime was the fact that she had value for discipline.
Mm.
Physical wise, I was able to assess her and I knew that, okay, this one is a decent lady. That's another thing that bonded me to her, because it will not be good to be moving with someone that is, okay, you're covered and the person is half naked. When people now ask you, is this your friend? And you open your mouth and say yes. Physically now, they try to judge. What is connecting these two? This one is half open. This one is covered. Where is people's friendship headed? So Uime, all her dressing at every time, she was always covered. That's another thing I loved about her, and we bonded. Then when it comes to character, wow, women had, and not just had, and is still having a very 100% character that I admire. Character in the way. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you're blushing.
Stop blushing, Jack. a hundred percent character that I can vouch for any day, anywhere, and at any time. Seriously. Because there are some people you meet and you converse with, and just in a conversation, you can tell that okay, this person understands that there's God, but character wise, it's not there. Some people can say, well, I'm a born again Christian, and then I was still very, very young. We met, who was very, very young when we met. So she was someone that had a good character as regards the opposite sex. Because then, a lot of things were going on. Young people would just feel, well, I'm young, my blood is hot. Let's just rigmarole with these people called the opposite sex. When we finish, we come and pray to God for forgiveness and go on with fellowship as usual. But Uyime had discipline. Did she used to relate with the opposite sex? Oh yes, very well. But she had discipline and was able to maintain herself, keep herself till she graduated. And because of that discipline of keeping herself, God now blessed her with better package from there. Well, yes, now why she was graduating. So, to crown up the discipline, God now say, okay, take this one and graduate. And that's the person that I call our husband today. Very good man. So, these are just the basic values that surrounded women. Women is not somebody that talks anyhow. You will not hear women open her mouth and say vulgar words. You cannot hear from women, no matter how angry she is. And another thing too, even if she has to get angry, she has a way of being in control, you know. She will not allow the anger to get a hold of her that she gets out of herself, acts irrationally, say irrational things, and now ends up regretting. No. She always knew how to handle anger very well. So these are a little bit then she was very focused. I'm not saying this because she was a medical student, no. Because people just feel medical students are always very focused, very disciplined. They're on just their book, church, and their hostel. No, she was focused all around. Book wise, yes, she was there. Church wise, she was focused. But outside these other areas, she was someone that was always focused, even in her walking step. There are sometimes some people will tell me, this your friend was like a soldier. I say yes, because soldiers are focused. So allow her to bounce and go the way she's going. Yes, people say, even in her walking step, you can see the discipline, the seriousness. I say yes. That's the way we roll. So allow her the way she is, please. I like her that way. Let her walk the way she wants to walk.
Wow.
It's very, very easy. And because of how how close we were. People actually thought I graduated as a medical doctor. There are sometimes people who chat me up and address me as Dr. Iboro, and I'm like, Doctor, the other doctor you're talking about in the medical line, I'm not it. They're like, we usually see you around medical students. I said, well, I had someone that was in the medical line, so somehow I found myself around medical people. So I did not read anything close to medicine. Wow, are you serious? I said, yes. So that's my second tip. Good character. After God, the first tip, the God factor. Second tip, good character.
Thanks so much for. In fact, you just made me blush all through while you were talking. I'm like, is this really me Ibora is talking about, or is someone else? Maybe my twin sisters.
No, 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 no.
Wow, wow. That's so lovely. Oh, for me, my second tip would be commitment towards nurturing our relationship. Like you said, to show how committed we were, even if we were not always together, like 247, or we didn't stay, like live in the same, you were not in the hostel, I was in the hostel, but there was this commitment. Even if there were days we didn't talk like every day, but
Of
it
course.
was more about being committed to nurturing the relationship, being there for each other. It wasn't about what we could get from each other, but what we could actually give. In fact,
Yes.
being around you, Iboro, was more like you offering value to me all the time. All these things you've described about me, the discipline, the focus, trust me, you were a mentor to me. I will look up to you and see you and the qualities you possess and strive to be like you. So it shows that you really did a deep work in me as my friend and my big sister. And all that you
What?
have described is as a result of the labor of love and the commitment towards nurturing our relationship. So for me, the commitment we had towards building each other, we always built each other. Even if I was younger than you, some people would always let allow age to be a barrier. But it's not like there were times maybe I won't offend you, but that wasn't a priority for you. It was more
No.
about me being your sister and you nurturing me as your sister. So that's going to be my second tip. So what's your third tip?
All right. This third tip is heavy. I will I will say wisdom and maturity is what has kept our friendship going. I think we are close
Yeah,
to should we are close to 20 years. Have we reached 20?
15.
No. Okay, 15.
15.
I'm even going further. we are we are 15. Wisdom and maturity. Now, Unyime was my junior, or is my junior, quite alright. Did not give me the leverage to just feel I can start doing senior sister things. Of course, I'm the last and the only gear. So I did not see my family. So I did not see women as someone that okay, I can have used to do senior sister things. Let me be lord over her, try to control her, try to just chook nose, chook mouth, chook hand into businesses of hers. Wisdom and maturity. Yes, we were friends, we were trying to build friendship, but it's wisdom to know and understand when the other side needs a little space. I know in a week back then, when we were still in Calabar, in a week, I can visit her in the hostel like maybe twice. Or then I used to do business. So if I go to the female section to go and sell stuffs, I can tell her, okay, I'm around. Oh, can I stop by? I didn't see it as an opportunity to just bash into her. Bah! because we are
Yeah.
friends.
Very true. Yeah.
You will just go and push open her hostel door and tell her, you see this friendship, it must work. You just bash into her unannounced. Or because she's your junior, you just feel you can just walk in and walk out of her room. That wisdom was there. And of course, knowing also that she was a medical student, she will need at least her own space to read and also her own space to have a relationship, have a personal time with God. So it's wisdom to know when the other party needs space and you respect that space and give it to the person. That's why I say wisdom and maturity is what
Wow.
has kept
Wow.
the friendship going.
Wow.
Even up till now, we don't even
Yeah.
really, yes, we don't even like communicate that often. We don't even
Mm.
see that often because of how large Abuja is. At least now we happen to be in the same state, but
Yeah.
distance and everything. But even if we decide to see today, like now, the way we will so bond and connect is as if we have been seeing ourselves every day.
Very true.
Yes, like okay, the last time we saw was last year December when she was on leave.
Yeah.
You know, we just met in one park and we just communicated, watched our children playing and everything. Every communication was as if it's like these people have been seeing themselves. So even when even when Uyime's brother said had to come and join us, he was so happy to see me. We even have a name, cousin Masa. That's from Uyime's brother. Uyime's elder brother. Uyime's elder brother. That's how far we have become, and that's how far we have gotten. So he was glad to see that come these two people, because him too, he was schooling in Unica. He schooled in Unica. So these two people are still communicating. It was a thing of joy for him. Wisdom and maturity. And anytime we see, it's not a time to sit down and be asking unnecessary questions. Oh, how is this area of your life? If there's a reason,
Exactly.
yes, if there's a
Mm.
need, if there's a very, very heavy need to ask based on communication, there's a way it can be asked. But not that immediately we see ourselves, the first question is, oh, how is this aspect of your life? How much do you do you have? How much do you now have? How is your husband? I hope he's treating you well. No, 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 no. Our communication
Mm.
doesn't settle around there. If something goes wrong in that area, and we feel that okay, there's a need to communicate as sisters. There's a way we can say it. Just chat ourselves up. If there's a need to call and everything. Like there was a time when I just put to bed for my first child. There was little these things. I just started doing my up. This little issue. Uima just gave me her own very, very simple, straightforward advice and everything. And now, when we even see and discuss, women will no longer and bring up and hey, how is that's immaturity and that's no wisdom. It's true. So it's
Yeah.
wisdom and maturity that has kept up. And there's sometimes women has told me, oh, IBU, see this aspect. We had a little shaky, but now everything is okay. That's it. And
Mm.
just to let you wonderful viewers know, both of our marriages are working perfectly well.
Yeah.
Yes, just as the friendship is going on well between me and women, that's how both of our marriages are going on very, very smoothly. To show you that this friendship is heavenly. Yes, because
Mm.
you cannot be friends with somebody and the person is having little itches and you're moving on fine. That friendship might have a little friction because
Yeah.
family is equally important. So
Mm.
I'm also letting our wonderful viewers out there know that marital wise we are doing well to the glory of
Yeah.
God. That's how far God accepts our friendship. Wisdom and maturity, knowing when the other person needs space, knowing what to communicate, knowing when
Mm.
to chook mouth in the one they permit you to chook mouth in. Not
Mm.
taking not taking advantage of friendship and saying let's talk everything. Let's rant everything. No, that's immaturity. That's lack of wisdom. So yeah, that's my number 3 tip. Wisdom
And
and
that's the
maturity.
same with mine. That's the same with mine. I wrote respecting boundaries.
Oh, you
Like it
see?
has really helped. I don't even need to go and start explaining again because you've already said everything. Respecting boundaries, respecting each other's boundaries. So
Of course.
it's really very key. So let's just move to tip number 4. What's your fourth tip?
Okay, my fourth tip. I would say prayers. When I pray, once in a while, I mention women in prayers, mention her family to God in prayers. God, preserve my friend. All her heart desires will come to pass, and all of that. It might not necessarily have to be a very long prayer, but anytime I have to pray, I mention her in prayers. And that one is more or less like a silent tip because that one just has a way of
Yeah.
working things out. Yes, working things out naturally. So that's my number 4 tip. Prayers.
My number 4, I wrote vulnerability and support. Like, and it goes
Oh,
hand in
cool,
hand with
cool,
what you
cool.
have shared. Being
Yes,
vulnerable to each other and being able to support each other through every phase of our lives, through thick and
yes,
thin, through the high moments and the low moments. So we've been able to do that successfully, to be vulnerable to each other, open up to each other. You know, I always tell IB is a very, I won't use the word secretive, but she's a very private person. She's a very, very private person. She doesn't just go around sharing, and even as close as we are, there are certain things about IB that I don't know. It's not everything about her that I know, but she tells me what I need to know, and I respect that about her. And I'm able to
yes,
appreciate her anytime she opens up to tell me things, because for me it's a privilege, because she would decide to keep it to herself, but for her to trust me enough to open up and tell me certain things, I see it as a privilege. And no matter what, anytime, any day, I would go out of my way to support her, whether it's convenient, whether it's not. And so that's
yes.
it for me, vulnerability and support. So our final tip, what's your final tip?
Okay, my final tip. Genuine concern. Anytime women reaches out to me, you could see whether it's through chat, through call, or through normal text message, you can see that genuine
Hmm.
concern. How are you doing? How are you holding up? How is the family? How is the economy with you? How is your husband? How is your daughter? That is what has kept us going. That genuine concern. You just started a business. How is it going? I've not been seeing you advertising in a while. Have you stopped? Those are genuine concerned questions. And that is what has kept us going. Genuine concern. If you don't have genuine concern for the person you're calling friend, then that friendship might not really go as far as you people desire it to go. Women shows genuine concern. Even if we don't talk for 1 year, once we have the opportunity to speak, first thing, how are you doing? How is the family? That's concern. You know, there's some friendships that are just based on they will not talk for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. they are the first time they now decide to talk in 3 years or in 2 years is please give me money. The economy is hard. eh?
Yes, yeah.
No, how are you first at least? Okay, we have not spoken in a while. At least start with concern before you drop your money matter. So if a friendship is just based on okay, like what you mentioned before, what you can get, a friendship is going to pack because the other party is just going to see herself or himself as okay, so I'm just one resort, I'm just one ATM when this issue to come and insert card inside of me and withdraw. Yes, now if somebody is always like the one being withdrawn from, one day that person will just get tired and back off.
Very true. Very
Yes,
true.
and you now wonder, but we are friends now. No, the friendship was not handled properly. One party
Yes.
was suffering from withdrawal syndrome.
Mm.
Yes, so that's another thing people too should look out for. If you are the one draining from the other person one day will just cut you off, and you'll be like, is this how you will behave as Christians? Why they cut off? So another tip, I love this tip so much, genuine concern, and I love that so much about her. And of course, it's what has kept our friendship going too.
Wow, wow, Ivy, that's so great. My last tip is intimate and quality conversations. Like
Oh, cool, cool,
earlier
cool.
highlighted, yes. Anytime we communicate or we talk, it's quality over quantity. It's
Of
quality over
course,
quantity. There's always a level of intimacy, which is
yes,
basically what you're talking about, genuine concern and all. And our
yes,
conversations are always quality conversations, conversations that will build each other, even if it's not like always serious, like a very serious atmosphere, in a very light, friendly, relaxed atmosphere. But there is no time we talk that we don't leave having been equipped one way or the other, no
yes.
matter how
Very true.
little it may seem or how casual it may seem. So that's my
Very true.
final tip. So Ivy, can you do a quick recap of your 5 tips? Just highlight what your 5 tips are, then also final words to our listeners.
Okay. Tip number one, the God factor. Tip number two, good character and good value system. Tip number three, wisdom and maturity. Tip number four, what was tip number four? Tip number five, genuine concern. Tip number four, prayers. Yes. So, final words. Please, the way society is going, if you can get hold of it, does not have to be plenty. They don't have to be plenty. If you can get hold of just one person that is genuinely interested in your matter till Jesus comes, please get hold of that person, cherish that person, and apply these tips. This might not be all. Apply these tips and others that God will inspire you with and keep your friendship moving. Because the way times and seasons are, you need just that one person. It might not even be your spouse. Because spouses now will just be busy. Oh, we need to have more money. We need to pursue money. Children are
Yeah.
coming. Yes, we need to
Mm.
focus on it. That concern will be there. Of course, this is the person you spend the rest of your life with. So you people are friends for life. But outside your spouse now, outside your children, have that one person that you can call a sister. Might be outside your family members. It will really serve as a very good support system. You can just chat up that one person and say, this is it to advise me. And that person will always be there. So I know a lot of people just feel, I cannot keep a friendship for this long. I'm hearing this podcast, Iboro and Unyime 15 years. Is it just they're using? It is very, very possible. Apply these tips and more. Of course, you also heard Uyime's tips. Apply both tips, and you just discover that it's very easy and stress-free. No party has to have IBP for the friendship to progress. It will just
Yeah.
progress naturally. Yes, it will just progress naturally because
Mm.
everybody knows his or her responsibility in the friendship. Women is one person I
Wow.
can never get. Yes, Unyime is one person I can never get tired of.
Yes, so
Yes, so if you're in a friendship and you're already beginning to have tiredness syndrome, it might not last. Even if there's an opportunity for us to see now, I will carry myself and make it happen. If I can't go because of some constraints, I'll say, okay, this is it too. Can we reschedule? Like this our podcast now, you know how we have been postponing, postponing because one thing will come up is either I will sleep off. But in my mind, I'm like, this podcast too, I long for it to at least just to hear Yima's voice. Maybe just the gist they go in the podcast.
so sweet.
Yes. That's how
Wow.
that's how friendship should be. Seriously. So Yima is one person I can never get tired of. Oh. From that to Iboro. The family people even be asking me, come inside that your Abuja. We say no Yima. I say we have seen. We took time to see, but we have seen. At least we have
Yeah,
seen.
yeah. Wow,
So
IB, thanks so much. Thank you so much.
yeah.
In fact, this our conversation just brought back so many lovely memories over the past 15 years, and I've just been blushing from the beginning of the conversation till now. And I really want to say thank you. I really want to say I love you, and you are one sister that God blessed me with. I don't have a biological sister, but I have a sister in you. And I want you to know that we would continue to invest in our relationship to bring out the
Yes, true.
best in each other. So before we go, I'll just recap on my own tips. The first
Yes.
one is we have common values and belief systems. Secondly, we're committed towards nurturing our relationship. Thirdly, we respect each other's boundaries. Fourthly, we're vulnerable with each other and we support each other through thick and thin. And lastly, our conversations are always intimate and quality conversations. So, IB, thank you so much. Definitely, you can be rest assured. I'm going to invite you again for us to talk about
Oh,
something.
anytime.
Yeah,
Anytime.
because it's always good to hear you drop some gems of wisdom. So our viewers, they need to hear more of you on our show. So definitely, I know
Thank
when
you.
I extend an invitation, you'll be very much available to honor our invitation. Thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Yay! So you've heard it all. Building and maintaining long-lasting friendship is an act that requires a lot of patience, empathy, and effort. It's a journey that can be both rewarding and challenging. But the benefits of having a strong and supportive relationship are definitely immeasurable. By being intentional and actively listening and engaging with your friends, and being willing to forgive and walk through difficulties that come your way, you can create meaningful and lasting connections that will enrich your life. Therefore, know that the act of building and maintaining friendship is about cultivating a sense of community and belonging to a community that helps you navigate the ups and downs of life. Remember, no woman is an island, and you need people by your side that can do life with you. Thank you for listening to today's episode. Next week, we'll be talking about how we can navigate seasonal relationships and how to handle transitioning from seasonal relationships. Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Women Lighthouse podcast. I hope you were inspired to keep taking steps towards living out your dreams. If you enjoyed this episode, we encourage you to share it with other women and leave us a review on our social media platform, which is in the description box. Also, feel free to subscribe to our channel to get notified of new episodes. Till I come your way on our next episode, keep living, keep dreaming. Bye for now.